this hour's Attorney General Sessions will testify before a Senate panel about his interactions with Russia and the firing of James Comey. But the head of the Republican Party is calling now for an end to all congressional investigations into the Trump campaign's ties to Russia. So let's bring her in. She is Ronna Romney McDaniel, the chairwoman of the Republican National Committee. Good morning, Ms. McDaniel.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here. Why are you calling for an end to the congressional investigations into whatever the ties were between the Trump team and Russia?
I'm saying that the investigations about the collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians needs to be completed because this investigation started last July under Director Comey. We have not seen a single senator, we haven't seen Director Comey or Clapper say that there's any evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians. So why is this continuing? Why is this going almost a year, this investigation? Isn't it time to put an end to it? If nobody can say that there's definitive evidence, shouldn't we take that shadow off the White House and let the American people know that there's been no evidence of collusion at all?
Look, you know what they would say, thus far. That's why the investigation is continuing.
But it's almost a year, Allison. It's almost a year. It started last July. The election ended in November.
Sure.
How long can you let this linger?
Bob Mueller was just named, just sorry to interrupt, but Bob Mueller was just named to lead this investigation probably 3 weeks ago, less than 4 weeks ago. Some people think it's just beginning.
Comey was he started it in July of 2016. The election ended in November, and now we're in June.
But Jeff Sessions today is just going in front of the Senate Intel. Just today, the Senate Intel the lawmakers are going to be able to hear from him.
Well, here's the thing is, there's still been no senator, not one senator, name one senator, Democrat, Republican, who can say they've seen evidence of collusion.
They would say that it's just not complete, that the investigation is not complete.
They said there's been no evidence, but what's taking so long? Here's the thing that's concerning to me is, I feel like they're drawing it out. It's concerning. The Democrats have a playbook. Draw out, obstruct, play out the clock so that we can get to 2018 with this doubt over the White House. And I think the American people deserve to know definitively, is there evidence of collusion? If there isn't, let's put an end to it and stop putting this doubt in the American people's mind.
I hear you. But of course, Republicans control Congress. I mean, these are bipartisan committees, the Senate Intel, the House Intel. Their chairmen are Republican. So it's not just Democrats with this playbook.
I'm just speaking from going across the country. I was in Arkansas last week, and Buffalo, and Georgia, and people are saying, why is this taking so long? It started last July. We're almost a year in. Year into this investigation? Why can't we put an end to this? The election ended in November.
Have you shared
We want you to start talking about what people are concerned about at home in my state of Michigan: health care, tax reform, jobs, wages.
Listen, and I've heard all of the complaints that the Russia cloud is preventing the president from moving forward with his agenda.
Well, the president's moving forward. We're just not talking about it because we keep talking about this one thing, and we need to start talking about what the president's
doing.
But wait,
then you're saying two different things. Is the Russia cloud preventing the president from moving forward with his agenda? Yes or no?
No, I think the Russia cloud just needs to be removed from the American people's mind. We've seen no evidence of collusion, which no one has seen, let's get it done and over with. But the president's moving forward regardless. It's just not getting the coverage.
Have you shared your feelings with the Republican chairs of these committees, with Richard Burr or Devin Nunes?
I've made some calls, and I'm just sharing it that this is what the American public is saying. Let's just get it done and over with. We're almost a year in.
And what have they said? I mean, about that, have they said that they agree that they're going to stop these investigations?
We haven't talked about it at that length. I've just shared with them what I've heard out there, that the American people want to see this cloud removed. It's not fair. We're a year in almost from this investigation. Why don't we have a conclusion? No one can say that there's evidence. So if there's no evidence, why are we continuing to investigate it?
Well, I hear you with the people that you have spoken to, but let me show you the latest polls, because obviously that's a wider swath of Americans. The latest Quinnipiac poll, this is from just last week, shows that 73% of Americans do support the independent commission investigating the links between Team Trump and Russia. Furthermore, 60% of Americans, if you add these next two numbers together, believe that the president did something illegal or unethical. So Americans
You
do
just
not
proved my
feel
point
that we
as to
should.
why this needs to be concluded.
But,
Because you had Director Comey last week say 3 times that the president was never under investigation, that he has never been under investigation.
But his
Every
associates
senator,
are.
Director Comey, Director Clapper have all said that there's no evidence of collusion.
But all of his,
so
but
this
many of
doubt
his
is being
associates
put into
are.
the American public's mind, even though there's no evidence. So let's conclude the investigations and let the American people know that there's no evidence that's been found.
Well, look, these polls don't suggest that that Americans feel that we need to be done with these investigations. It sounds like they want to get to the bottom of the investigations, and they haven't ended yet. And about the president not being the target, you know, here's the list of his associates that investigators are still looking into. I mean, as is evidenced by today, just a few hours from now, at the top of this list, Jeff Sessions will be asked these questions. You know the investigations into Michael Flynn. They didn't disclose their meetings with Russian officials. What's that about?
Well, it's ridiculous because the Obama administration between 2009 and 2013 had 22 meetings with Kislyak. You've seen senators on the Democrat side meet with him, Schumer, Pelosi. This is something that Democrats and Republicans do when they're in the Senate.
So why didn't Michael Flynn and Jeff Sessions disclose those?
Jeff Sessions talked to his FBI counterpart when he was putting together his disclosures, and he said, you don't have to disclose things that took place while you were in the Senate. We're going to hear from him today, but the reality is, why are we still talking about this a year out? I'm not saying don't do the investigation. The investigations have taken place, but if today no senator and Director Comey and Clapper have said there's been no evidence of collusion, when is the end point?
Well,
where's the speediness? When's the...
They're ongoing.
There's a point where it should be finished.
I mean, Robert Mueller just began.
Yeah, but Comey was continuing the investigation from July to November. He still hadn't completed it. I mean, what's taking so long? I think that's a fair question. What is taking so long? If you have no evidence, conclude the investigation.
Ronna Romney McDaniel, thank you very much for sharing your perspective on all of this. Nice to have you.